Hello. I'm in my comfy office chair here that I hardly ever sit in, but Constance says you should do all your morning shows here. And it is pretty comfortable. I'm sort of spoiled sitting in my dark desk chair over there. But anyway, it's Sunday school. And it's June, and it's a beautiful, beautiful uh, Sunday morning here in Sacramento. Every day as I take my morning and afternoon walks to the coffee shop, I pass by. We live right next door to a quaint and a charming Lutheran Episcopal church. And it looks very churchy and everything else. And I'm very tempted to drag my new enlargement of the cover of Accidental Christ and pose for some shameless, blasphemous, self-promotional photo. So you might be in for one of those here in the next few days. Anyway, on Thursday evening, I had a book launch. Okay, we all know what a book launch is. It's sort of the official uh, breaking of the public's hymen with insertion of a new work of brilliant art. Uh, I'm going to stop the analogy. The analogies right there. Uh, Spurting into the consciousness of the society. But anyway, and so I typed up a little speech to do, and it was first of all, it was very well attended. The bookstore sold out all of its books that it bought for the event, which was actually quite a few, and it was kind of standing room only and everything. Thank you all for who came, and thank all of you for your kind thoughts. Uh, all of it helped make the evening a very pleasant uh, pl- pleasant event. But it got me thinking about how much I enjoy uh, things like that, and working on a book uh, for months and months, and in this case, years and years, and then have it actually come out, and it's a combination of paternal joy, bliss, anxiety, uh, uncertainty, uh, but it's a satisfying moment. And I've been lucky over the years to have many events similar to this. This is every new book. I'll usually do something somewhere to launch it. When Christopher Hyatt and I first wrote our four titles together that we co-authored together, we had an event at our home. It was a book launch, and David Wilson, the illustrator, was there, or S. Jason Black, and all of our friends. There, we've got wonderful, uh, warm memories of Christopher Hyatt and myself and David Wilson sitting on that wonderful prelate seat, that pew that we had at the time. So, wonderful memories. But after that, when I started being published by Weiser, and later Llewellyn and Weiser, it continued. But uh, I do my book launches in Los Angeles at the Bodhi Tree bookstore on Melrose, which was arguably the most celebrated New Age, occult, Eastern mysticism type bookstore in the country, if not in the world. Shirley MacLaine, in her movie Out on a Limb, her book and movie Out on a Limb, the Bodhi Tree bookstore plays kind of an important role in her education and awakening. And so it was a privilege to launch my books, the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, My Life with the Spirits, Angels, Demons, and Gods of the New Millennium. All were launched at the Bodhi Tree bookstore. As a matter of fact, it was at the Bodhi Tree bookstore when I was launching the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic book for Weiser. The cards had been out with U.S. Games. That a Kabbalist, a Los Angeles Orthodox Kabbalist, almost charged the stage to say, "What you teach is not Kabbalah." He's perfectly right from his point of view, too. I'm not making fun of his point of view, but he was kind of upset. And he's the man that got so mad when he couldn't think of what kind of Kabbalah it was that I was talking about in that Tarot Ceremonial Magic book. He tried to think of a dirty word for the kind of Kabbalah that I was teaching, and he's the one that says it is chicken Kabbalah. Okay, and that's what I went. Yes, that's what that's what it is. But anyway, I digress. Going through my notes for other words that I've spoken at other book launches that I still have in files that I can still open on my computer, I found one that, my notes of a speech for the 2005 book launch of the Book of Ordinary Oracles. Now, I pull this out a lot in my morning talks because it's just, I love this book and it's so handy. I use it not every day, but I use it very regularly. And I'm very proud of it. And it's not one of my best-selling books, much to the chagrin of the good folks at Weiser, and not for lack of trying at its book launch. Now, its book launch was at the 2005 INATS, that's the International New Age Trade Show, that was held in, I believe it was Denver that year. And we really wanted to promote it big, and I, of course, said a few words, and there was the Weiser booth and things like that. But what really was exciting is that the good people at New Leaf Distributing, which is the country, if not the world's largest distributor of New Age, New Thought, Mind, Body, Soul, occult books in the world, asked me to MC the introduction to three of the world's most, at the time, popular New Age authors. And I'll get to that in a second. And it was a big, big banquet. And it was a lunchtime banquet. So everybody who was at INETS was there. Okay, so it was a huge, huge audience. And they put two or three ballrooms, or no, is it a convention center? So uh, it was a big thing, and a high stage and all of that. Uh, and I was going to be the MC because the people, Ginger at New Leaf, and Aleem, if you're still watching, we're still in touch. Uh, he's, asked me to do the MC work because I was a ham, and Ham being one of the sons of Noah, I was very happy to to do that. And so I ran across my notes for the thing, and I do want to share it with you because it's just going to go off into oblivion if I don't enshrine it in something more tangible than this my computer files that are getting so old that my new computers can't even open them. Uh, anyway, and I was there to plug this. Okay. Now, every table and every chair at every table of that whole giant luncheon had a gift bag. And in that gift bag was a copy of the Book of Ordinary Oracles, because everybody sitting at those tables were bookstore owners. Okay. So here's my chance to speak to the whole country's bookstore owners and give them a free copy of this and talk about it in my capacity of being the MC and introducing these three other real luminaries and real famous authors. So what a chance for a ham. Now, the luncheon started about 20 minutes late because Wayne Dyer was speaking, and his speech was supposed to end like at noon, okay, but it didn't. He kept talking and talking and talking. And so we weren't going to start until all of the people that were at Wayne Dyer's speech could have a chance to go pee and then come to lunch. So we started about 20 minutes late. And I started off by saying that in my opening words here that were written in my prepared text, I mentioned that we had originally scheduled 7 authors for me to introduce that day, but because of Wayne Dyer, and that's all I said, and because of Wayne Dyer, and then everybody just burst out laughing. We're going to have to cut it down to just 3. Anyway, and hey, if you don't have a Book of Ordinary Oracles, my God, get them while they're still printing them up, okay? Part of my words that I did for my own personal speech, which was earlier that day. Here's what I said for that. Oracle. Among several other definitions, Webster's dictionary say oracle is any person or thing serving as an agency of divine communication. The book is called The Book of Ordinary Oracles. I wanted to call it How to Be a Fortune Teller Using Stuff You Got Laying Around the House. It's a lighthearted and hopefully funny introduction to the subject of oracles and divination. It's my way of offering the reader fun and painless ways to get in touch with and actually develop his or her psychic abilities. You know, somebody once said that true wisdom is not having all the answers, but knowing what questions to ask. And my basic field theory is this. When we're truly passionate and serious about our question, when we've given a lot of thought and gotten rid of all the stupid little questions that address only the symptoms of our predicament, when we finally come to terms in ourselves to what we really want to know, then the question becomes the answer. And in that golden moment, the answer is screaming at us from every corner of the cosmos. If we can just find a way to momentarily distract the routine flow of everyday consciousness. Just get out of our own way, even for an instant, then we can see or hear the answer in anything we observe. And I mean anything. In clouds, numbers, random passages in books or magazines, smoke, mirrors, images on the television or sounds on the radio, the behavior of animals, anything. An oracle is just a crazy device of some kind that we use to distract our everyday mind just long enough to get our answer. In the book, I share a few examples of my attempts to gain knowledge of hidden things and examine an assortment of very ordinary and perhaps unlikely divinatory tools and techniques. Some of these ordinary oracles have been used with reverence for centuries and have a rich and complex tradition. Some were created by students of my Monday night magic class as part of an assignment. Some I just pulled out of my own twisted imagination, like the Mark Twain or the Popsicle Oracle. All of them are meant to be fun and entertaining, but they're also intended to awaken within you powers of perception that are currently slumbering just beneath your other five senses. So that was my sort of straightforward thing. But when I got up, I then put on my real big MC, Master of Ceremonies, ham hat. And this is what I had to say. And well, you'll see. I introduced three superstars, at least at the time. Dick Sutphen, Sandra Ray, and Dan Millman. Okay. Here's what I said. Aleem will introduce the Sheikh, and the Sheikh will say a few words about his organization. Aleem will introduce me, and we're off. This is my notes to myself. Everyone will get 20 to 22 minutes. And here's how I came on. I don't know who introduced me. I probably introduced myself. Let me begin by saying how happy I am to be part of New Leaf's historic celebration. Happy not only because it gives me this wonderful opportunity to shamelessly promote my newest book, and I kept going, have I told you I've written a new book? Aleem will back me up on this. For years afterwards, he said, hey, have you written a new book? Okay. Aleem was the head of New Leaf at the time. Not only because it gives me this opportunity to shamelessly promote my newest book, but because I'm profoundly mindful of what a privilege it is to be asked to introduce tonight's luminary authors. Now, I'm just a simple country metaphysician, and it's not at all a case of false modesty when I confess that the stature of tonight's lineup makes me feel sort of like the fourth wise man whose gift to the baby Jesus was a honey-baked ham. Wait for applause. Wait for roaring laughter. Now that I think of it, ham is exactly the word Judith and Ginger used when they invited me to be here tonight. For as old as I am, I've been in the book writing business for only 15 years. And for those 15 years, remember this is in 2005, and for those 15 years, New Leaf has been one of the foremost distributors of my wares. Thank you guys so much for keeping me on your shelves. For the most part, I write stuff that's a little on the esoteric and spooky side, magic and tarot and Kabbalah and such. I write about these things because they're subjects I enjoy and know quite a bit about. My newest book, however, have I told you I've written a new book? My newest book, however, is a little different. I hope you all have one in your gift bag. It's called The Book of Ordinary Oracles. And my publisher and I are both convinced that lots of people are going to buy my book. Perhaps even some people I don't know personally. The Book of Ordinary Oracles shows you how to make yourself a bona fide fortune teller just by using stuff you got laying around the house. Coins, chopsticks, Scrabble tiles, even your television remote. I call that one the couch potato oracle. Actually, the Book of Ordinary Oracles is the ideal book because after they buy it, your customers don't even have to read it. Well, I'm only half kidding. The book is designed to be an oracle itself. Just ask your question, close your eyes, and open it at random. We've put 212 oracular answers on the margins of every page, and I sort of held it up and showed where those, see that dark thing? Those are the little oracles. Okay. And everybody got them out of their bag right then and started looking at them. Okay. It's sort of like a huge magic eight ball. Now, just before I was introduced, I asked the Book of Ordinary Oracles, how will I do tonight at the New Leaf dinner? I randomly flipped the book open to page 171. The oracle answered, "It will feel so good when it stops." Well, hopefully it'll feel pretty good before it stops also. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the Book of Ordinary Oracles, and we'll put stacks of them right up front by the cash register. Here's my introduction to people. Dick Sutphin. Like me, our first guest was raised in Nebraska and moved to California. I don't know about him, but for me, California felt so good when Nebraska stopped. Dick Sutphin has established distinguished careers in advertising and audio publishing, but most of you know him as the best-selling author of one of America's foremost psychic researchers. In his 1978 book, Past Lives, Future Loves, he identified a sleepy little town near Phoenix as the psychic vortex area and triggered a spiritual gold rush that turned Sedona, Arizona into a New Age mecca. He's a renowned hypnotherapist, lecturer, and author of more than 20 books, including the million-copy bestseller, You Were Born Again to Be Together, in which he explored the concept of destiny through romantic relationships. His newest offering, Soul Agreements, which he penned with his wife, Tara, Dick again explores the idea of destiny and the role of past life karma that past life karma plays in our everyday lives. This time his investigations expand to a variety of fascinating cases, illustrating how soul agreements work and how each of us can develop the awareness necessary to override fate and create our own reality of love. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dick Sutphin. How was that? I had to try very, very hard to be on my best behavior. And I don't know how long I had to prepare for this. It wasn't very long, less than 24 hours. So I had to sort of bone up on all of these people so I could write these little introductions. The second one is Sandra Ray. Sandra Ray is truly a remarkable woman, a pioneer in the rebirthing movement, a teacher, seminar leader, and devoted student of spiritual disciplines. She is truly a spiritual world citizen whose quests have taken her around the globe. In her newest book, Pele's Wish, Sandra takes us to Hawaii and explores the kahuna teachings as she and her guide, Pauni Mahoi, adventure through volcanoes and undergo the visionary wonders of the sacred Vagina Cave. Mahoi writes in her foreword to Pele's Wish, quote, "Through the experiences we share at the Vagina Cave, I came to see my friend Sandra not only as a spiritual seeker, but as a genuine teacher who serves as a viable bridge between cultures. Through her comes a vision of how we are all truly linked as one, and that each of us has a direct access to the divine through teachings that ultimately have no social or ethnic boundaries." Unquote. Best-selling author Marianne Williamson writes, Pele's Wish continues the bold, wonderful saga of Sandra Ray's journey into spirit. She makes everything we long for seem so possible. We're very lucky to have her in our midst, unquote. We are indeed very lucky to have her with us tonight. Please welcome the ambassador of Aloha, Sandra Ray. See how I was behaving myself. And finally, Dan Millman. And when Dan Millman came out, okay, he even upstaged me. The guy was absolutely wonderful. Not only that, but there's a grand piano on the stage with its lid down, and he did a handstand on the on the grand piano. So I wasn't the only ham in the room that night. Okay. Dan Millman. Those of you who are familiar with my work know that I'm a magician. Not the type of magician who masters the technical skills to make an elephant disappear or saw a woman in half, but the type of magician who seeks to master the spiritual skills necessary to make personal illusions and ignorance disappear. For the spiritual magician, everything is magic, and every experience and perception is a direct communication from the divine consciousness to the soul of the magician. I'm telling you this because I believe I received one of those direct communications from the pages of a novel written by our next guest. I took Dan Millman's newest book with me on a recent trip to London and Oslo. It's called The Journeys of Socrates. While I waited at the gate to board a plane in Los Angeles, I was suffering from a nasty case of traveler's anxiety about what might be in store for me during my month abroad. To calm my nerves, I cracked open Dan's book and my eyes fell on the opening epigram. It was a quote from Martin Buber, and like magic, it handed me, in so many words, one of those direct communications from the divine consciousness to my soul. Quote, "Every journey has a secret destination of which the traveler is unaware." Unquote. Indeed it does. And with the journeys of Socrates, Dan takes us all on a special journey whose secret destination is one each of us must discover for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome author and best-selling Way of the Peaceful Warrior, Mr. Dan Millman. And have I told you I've written a book? That's for you, Aleem. Anyway, hey, you go off and buy that book. That's not much of a Sunday school subject, but it was it's kind of been on my mind, and I enjoy doing stuff like that. And I am a ham, okay, and proud of it. Anyway, Constance and I are going to do a little class late this afternoon or early this evening on Aleister Crowley's Class A document Liber Ararita right here in Sacramento. So we're going to have to get ourselves pretty for that. Anyway, it'll be harder for me than her. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.